Rhubarb. It's a fantastic perennial crop that can keep you going for years and years and years on end. This particular patch here, you can see it's thriving and large, more rhubarb than any one family really ever needs, but I'll cut a lot of this, chop it up, freeze it, use it in all sorts of baked goods, all sorts of things. But this patch actually started from a few spindly little plants that were left here from ages ago. Probably, I honestly have no way of knowing, but I would say probably decades, 50 or 60 years ago. When we first moved here 15 years ago, this patch was actually in the back, and it was in an area where that had kind of turned into lawn, wasn't really garden space anymore. And these were really miserable, tiny looking plants. I'm talking like 2 or 3 little plants that might have had a 10-inch radius if we were lucky and really weren't growing into much. But you know, we dug those up, we divided them, and over the course of the last 10 years, we've divided and replanted again, put them in good soil, maintained them, and this is what we've got. So this is what you can get out of a rhubarb crop, just with some good maintenance and care. So here to talk today about some ways to maximize your harvest and extend your harvest in your rhubarb crop. And a lot of that goes back to kind of dispelling some of the myths and things that people think about rhubarb, you know, and just dealing with it from there. But really, your rhubarb harvests are going to depend a lot on your harvesting, your technique, your frequency, and your general care and maintenance of your patch. So one thing that I want to show you is that we've got here, this one's really hiding, I've had this a few times. This is a flower stalk, which is going to turn to seed if I leave it here on the plant, which there's no reason to do that. There's no benefit. This isn't like, say, like a tomato where the blossom's going to turn into a vegetable. All that the seeds are doing in a rhubarb plant are just taking energy and resources away. So whenever you see these, and they start kind of as a curled up, you'll kind of see them curled up bunches of blossom like that slowly unfurl. And when you see them, just get rid of them as soon as you can. And you do that, you can either cut it or pull it right off the base and just send that right to the compost pile. So simple as that. The other thing that you really want to do with your rhubarb is when you're harvesting, first of all, go for your good thick stalks, your nice looking stalks, and keep harvesting regularly. You can see I've got some pretty spindly stalks here. That's probably the result of 2 things. One, I haven't picked from a lot of these plants with enough frequency this summer. So it's still kind of early in the summer. We've still got several weeks of harvesting here, but the more that I harvest some of these bigger stalks, the more that we will have energy for this plant to be sending up bigger, stronger shoots. Little late for these, they're not going to thicken up any from here, but the next shoots, if we take away and we reduce the stress on this plant, it'll have more to give. So when you do harvest, what you want to do is not cut them, because when you cut them, you're leaving a stub that can, one, potentially turn to rot and invite disease down into the crown, and that could be the demise of your plant entirely. But also, when you pull them, instead of cutting, you're stimulating more growth on your plant. So you want to get down toward the base of your plant, kind of twist and pull, and there you go. We've got the stalk. This is what you're looking for. You want that stem end on. After you harvest, you're going to take the leaves off. Those leaves go right into the compost pile, or you can even put them down and around to help kind of mulch out some of the weeds and the grasses that you might have coming through. And then you're going to trim off your stem end too, so that you're left with a nice, thick, clean stalk ready to go. Start harvesting anytime that your stalks are longer than, say, 10 to 12 inches. That can vary a little bit by variety and age of the plant, how long your stalks are going to get, but there's no need to wait. Rhubarb is not a plant that you need to wait to ripen. The color will vary between red and green. You can see some of my stalks are almost completely green, while others have a lot of red in them. That's not a sign of ripeness. That's just a variety of the plant and how it grows. So those are just a few tips for maintaining and getting the biggest, best harvest from your rhubarb patch. There are more in the article. I hope you'll read them completely, and best of luck with your rhubarb.